Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott. Perhaps like me, your experience with company Manfrotto has been with tripods. I've owned several Manfrotto tripods in the past, and so when I began to have a dialogue with them about some of the recent products, I was surprised to find that they actually do a lot of other things. And so what I'm here today to do is to give you a quick review of something that is becoming increasingly essential, and that is to have a card reader for the newer CFExpress Type B cards that are found in a number of new cameras. For me, it's my Canon EOS R5 where I primarily use them. In this case, this is really a portable card reader, which is essential because one of the problems that I have run into with any kind of new media format is that in something like a laptop, for example, my laptop has the ability to read SD cards no problem, and most laptops are similar. But when you get into some of these newer card formats like CFExpress Type B, it's very unlikely that your laptop is going to have that, and so you're left trying to find some kind of alternate solution. So here we have a relatively inexpensive and portable way to get very fast read speeds off that. I also discovered in the process that they actually make CFExpress Type B cards. So what I'm doing today is not only giving you a quick review of the card reader, I'm actually testing the performance of the reader and the card itself to see how it compares to what I consider at least for myself, my gold standard, which is the Sony Tough cards, which I use basically exclusively in my own cameras. So to give you a quick breakdown of price for this CFExpress Type B card reader, it runs $54.99 US, so about 55 bucks. Not a bad price, something that's nicely made like this. As far as their actual memory cards, I've got 128 gigabyte here. That runs about 200 bucks. You can also get a 256 gigabyte card, and that runs at about $390. So just to give you a quick look at the specs of the actual card reader, kind of big deal for me is that it is nice and slim. That means it's going to slip into a laptop bag or something similar. It's made out of an anodized aluminum. It does have rubber feet on it, which is a nice touch. So when it sets down, instead of having a hard metal surface on whatever, you actually have rubber feet there. And so it gives it a, kind of a less vibration and less kind of hard contact there. All around this, there are heat sinks built into it, and so you have the ability to move lots of data. And one thing I have found about CFExpress cards, at least in cameras, is that they do tend to generate more heat and retain more heat than what I'm accustomed to seeing in like SD cards, for example. And so probably having the heat sinks is a good thing. It does have this flip-up protective end cover, and so that does give you a safe place to store it. I don't know how much you're getting in terms of any kind of weather sealing, but better to have something that's covered with a port than not. It operates off of a single USB 3.2 Type C, which can give you up to 10 gigabits per second of storage transfer, information transfer. It does come with a couple of cables to help you to connect to your laptop or your computer, your device, and so obviously it uses the USB-C standard, but it's got one cord that also terminates on the other end in a USB-C, and then one that starts USB-C and goes to a Type A in port, but obviously with the USB 3.0 or 3.2 standard, so you're getting your speed no matter what. Quick look at the specs of the card. The card is rated at a read speed of 1,730 megabits per second and a write speed of 1,540 megabits per second. And so that actually is slightly better than what my Sony Tough card is actually rated at. We'll see how it holds up in the actual transfer speeds. And important to these cards, I mentioned they do tend to get hot in certain cameras. So these are rated at minus 25 Celsius all the way up to 70 Celsius. And so just made to be tough, to be durable, and to handle robust conditions. They're calling it a professional card, and as far as at least the basic specs go, it seems to be roughly comparable to what I see in my Sony Tough cards. So let's take a look at how this stuff actually performs. And so I ran a number of tests using a 4.2 gigabyte file size, a video file that I wanted to transfer back and forth and see how it did both with read and write speeds. I also already own a CFExpress Type B card reader. It's a ProGrade, and it's the one that I typically use. And so I compared both cards and both readers connected to the same device using the same file to see if I could get somewhat of a scientific comparison back and forth. And so as I ran the test transferring over using the Manfrotto card and the Manfrotto reader, I wrote to the Manfrotto card that 4.2 gig file in 23 seconds. When I needed to just read the file, it took only 7 seconds. And so there's a bigger disparity between the write and the read speed than what the up to rating is, at least in my experience, and that's true across all cards that I've tested at this point. As far as running the Manfrotto reader with the Sony card, I was slightly faster in both the write and read speeds, but basically within the margin of error. 21 seconds to write versus 23 seconds, and then 6 seconds to read versus 7 seconds. So performance being very similar, but not identical. So then I tested both cards in my typical ProGrade reader that I use. And so to use the Manfrotto card, I was able to write the same 4.2 gigabyte file in 20 seconds. So a little bit faster. And then I read it in 5.8 seconds. So also a little bit faster. Now, interestingly here, I actually got closer results comparing the Sony and the Manfrotto cards, in that I got the identical 20-second write time with the Sony card, and I got a 5.5-second read time. And so they were basically right about the same in terms of transfer. So it goes to show that there is a little bit of variance, depending on, your reader. But of course, a second or two is not going to change your workflow in either direction. And so it's obviously, for the most part, I would call the performance roughly similar between the two. And so if the Sony Tough, represents as good as what I've seen, then the Manfrotto card is performing very similarly. I've been very happy with my ProGrade reader, and the fact that this is performing similarly and is a little bit more portable makes it attractive there as well. So I do like the slim profile of this. It is noted more portable than what my ProGrade is. The one thing that I would say as a negative relative to my ProGrade is that this is it only reads CFExpress Type B, whereas I purposely bought the ProGrade so I could use it both in reading CFExpress Type B, but then also SD cards at the same time. And so that's one disadvantage I've got here relative to that. It only reads one card format rather than a couple of them. So at the end of the day, for 55 bucks, it is, I think, a very nicely made and designed and practical device that seems to perform roughly similar to a very good product that I personally purchased for myself. If you'd like more information, you can look in the description down below, where I will link to the Manfrotto site where you can check out more information, as well as put some buying links there at some retailers if you're interested in purchasing one for yourself. As always, you can also find linkage to follow myself or Craig on social media. Check out our new channel, Let the Light In TV. And beyond that, there is a linkage to become a patron, to purchase channel merchandise to help support this channel. And of course, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and let the light in.